Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today is video number 2 of my best makeup picks for 2018, and we are focusing on bronzer, highlighter, and blush. Quite a few to talk about, but I had to narrow it down to my favorites this year. If you want to see what my favorites are, my friends, then please keep on watching. If it's your first time here, my name is Alicia, and welcome to Kinky Sweat. Kinky hair, sweat life, combining my loves of movement and beauty. Head over to my Instagram to see a lot more movement content, but I'm looking to add more movement tutorials here on YouTube. And also, disclaimer before we get into the favorites, they're just my opinions. They're not forcing you to buy these products. I love talking about makeup, and for you to join in on the conversation, I would love to know your favorites for this year as well. Oh my god, I just did my favorite complexions and my voice is tired already. Woo. I thought I had better stamina than that. Now, this was pretty tough because there are a lot of bronzers and highlighters and blushes on the market, but I decided that I'm gonna stick to the ones that I used the most, that I was most blown away by, even though if I might have tried them for like a month and a half. So what? That's what happens when you try new products. You encounter products that are good, that are okay, and then one that is just out of this world, not expecting to love it as much as you do, and even if it was just for a month, you simply must consider a favorite and best of something. You know what I mean? So our face is done. We have a foundation, our concealer, liquid highlighter if you do that step. Sometimes I do. Powder, we're ready to go. Maybe some contour, maybe. Let's talk about some bronzer. What have been the favorite bronzer items for 2018? Well, I wasn't expecting this at all. It's actually a palette that has both bronzer, highlighter, eyeshadow, and blush. When I got this palette, it was 40% off. This company was having a 40% off site-wide sale that day. I decided to dive in and to buy more makeup products from this said company because I didn't experience many of them, and I thought, why not now? Great opportunity, don't you think? And it is the Boho palette from Ofra Cosmetics. Best bronzer 2018, who would have known? Listen, man, I wasn't expecting to love this bronzer this much. It's what I have on today, and I feel it's pretty foolproof and a gorgeous color for tan skin. This is in the Boho palette, but you can get this separately, either in its individual compact or just as an individual pan if you have magnetic palettes. It's in the shade Versatile Matte Bronzer. It's quite indeed versatile. I love the warmth of this bronzer. It's not too orange, not too neutral. I feel it's the perfect shade. It's incredibly smooth. It blends like a dream. Really easy to use. I use it with my Sonia G Sculpt 1, and I feel it is just perfect for this bronzer. And I just love the texture. It's incredibly soft. And again, I love the tone of it because I definitely like my bronzer to be a little warmer in nature. I know sometimes people rely on their bronzer to be their contour shade, so that's why they lean more towards a neutral color. Like for instance, favorites I feel were the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer in the Holiday Coconut line. People love that bronzer because it was definitely more neutral in tone than their original release. But I like the original better because it's warmer, and that's what a bronzer is supposed to do. You know, it's supposed to give you that sun-kissed glow. And I think this one does as well. Not only was I pleasantly surprised with the bronzer, but also with the blushes. I really love these blush shades. They're a little plummy and warm in nature. And I like the highlights too. And I pretty much use all of this palette. The eyeshadow mattes are okay. They're not like mind-blowing. I was definitely more mind-blown by the bronzer and the blush than the other items in this palette. But you know, you can't go wrong. 40% off the original price. You get all this makeup, and I think pretty practical. If I didn't want to bring the whole palette along with me, I could switch these out with singles that I have, like my Colourpop singles. I could switch out one of the bronzer and blush shades because I have some singles from other companies. So I think this is a pretty good palette if you just want all in one, but also helpful. You could just pop out the pan and just bring it, put it in whatever other palette you have if you wanted to be more custom about it. And again, love the shade, love the texture, easy to blend, looks really beautiful on the skin, especially if you're tan or maybe a little deeper. I think it adds beautiful warmth, and it also combines well with a contour shade. If I were to use a contour shade, it'll be the Makeup Forever face artist face color in the shade S116. That's my choice powder contour shade for my face at the moment. Now, a drugstore brand that I wanted to mention as a best 2018 bronzer from the drugstore category is the Balm's Take Home the Bronze Anti-Aging Bronzer. I like this formula, and the fact that it's in a thin cardboard compact, I feel just makes it ideal for traveling. If you don't bring along your more intricate compacts that are just more fragile and don't really do well on travel, this is just like a simple cardboard compact. It has a mirror, it's not huge, but I think, you know, good enough for an emergency, you know what I mean? This is the original name, Toni. They renamed the shade. I still feel the formula is the same. This is like the middle shade. I really like it. I think it's beautifully smooth. This one has like a pinkier hue in comparison to the Ofra Cosmetics, which I think is interesting, right? Because it has a little warmth, but it has a little pinkiness to it that I feel adds nice glow to the skin. And the next one I had, because I really couldn't tell from the website which one will be best, this is the last shade. This called Grammy, currently called something else. And in comparison to these two, I rather like this. I feel is more suitable for my skin tone. It's a little more brown than I feel than the Ofra, but I still think a beautiful color. I really love the consistency of this powder bronzer. It's very creamy. It blends beautifully. I feel it's easy to use. It doesn't look streaky on the skin. It looks nice and airbrush once you apply it. I think if you use the right brush and a good light hand, you're gonna do great. Originally, these cost this amount. Again, so prepared. At that time, I got these for 50% off, and sometimes the Balm has like these flash 50% off site-wide sale announcements, whether it's through an email or an Instagram announcement. I definitely would check them out because 50% off is significant, and I think worth getting, especially too if the discount is half, you know? Now, the winner for best highlighter of 2018 was a tough one because there were a lot of highlighters this year, beautiful finishes, beautiful shades, and this winner was definitely unexpected. I just passed by it on the shelf at Sephora, and when I applied it on, it was over. It was over. Did not expect that the best highlighter of 2018 for me will be the Givenchy. I know, who am I? And you know I'm not into super high-end luxury makeup. Not that I don't like it, it's just, you know, it's kind of out of the budget, you know what I'm saying? I was very impressed by the Shimmer powder face highlighter in 02 Shimmery Gold. I'm gonna tell you right now, it was between this and the Dior Backstage. I did do a video comparing the Dior Backstage to the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish highlighter palette. I love that one too. I think that is a gorgeous palette because you have the gold, the bronze, and the pink. But there's something about this formula that I feel it's even more finely milled than the Dior Backstage. The Pat McGrath is a little intense, and I feel it's a baked formula much like this. It has like that gelée type of texture, but if I'm not tan, it's like a deep green type of gold finish on the face. And sometimes I want to go a little more traditional when it comes to my cheekbone highlight. This formula is just beyond smooth, and the finish is not high metallic, and that's okay. Sometimes I don't want a high metallic finish on my cheekbones, so kill me. This is just a perfect glow for my cheekbones. It's subtle but just enough. If you want to pump up the finish, then again I would first apply it on the cheekbone, spritz, let it dry down a little bit, and go in with this again. The way it layers over if you wanted to apply a cream or liquid highlighter first. You dab it on, and then when you apply this, it doesn't look textured on the skin. It just looks beautiful and smooth. It looks effortless, like, oh, it was already there when I woke up this morning. Gorgeous color, gorgeous formula. It's so smooth that you could even just use your fingers to apply it. It's gonna melt into the skin. Of course, I put it too close close to my shadow, but that's okay. But it just gives off the most beautiful, smooth highlight finish on the skin. And it still is going to look like skin as I fix my eyeshadow. We just can't have any mistakes on this channel, you know what I'm saying? Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love this highlighter. I didn't seek it out. I didn't even know it existed. I just fell upon it, tried it, and just instantly fell in love. And of course the compact itself, right, is the pan, beautifully designed. I mean, it has like family crest in here. I don't even know, but it's just so, it's hard to tell, but it's a gorgeous. And the hue of the gold is not too light, not too yellow. It's just right. I believe this is in the 50s. Still a bit of a splurge where you're like, girl, you're killing me. I can't buy Givenchy. You got something else for me? Well, I don't know if this was my winner last year, but I'm going to mention it as my best 2018 drugstore highlighter. And this released before 2018, but I think it's just been impressive across the board. This I found to be a really nice highlighter from the drugstore. Although I'm like changing my mind. Hold on. It's between these two. You ready? The nominees for best drugstore highlighter are the Milani Sunglow Strobelight highlighter and the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder. I had to go with the Milani, friends. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. This is the Mega Glow in Golden Flower Crown. Here's the Wet n Wild. Really nice, has a beautiful sheen to it. It's a little more lightweight than the Milani. The Milani is definitely gonna pack on more punch. So here's the Milani. So it really all depends on what texture you want to deal with. Because the Milani has a little more body to it, I would suggest you apply this with a circular buffing motion so the powders can melt really nicely into the skin and leave a beautiful smooth finish. The Mega Glow, you could like not be as buffy with it, right? You could just slap it on because it is a thinner formula. It's not as full-bodied as the Milani, but check that out. Isn't that a beautiful shade? I have it in number 3, Sunglow. Milani has several highlighter shades. They have like the special prismatic shades that are like amethyst and like those duochrome types of finishes. But for this formula, I also managed to pick up number 2, Day Glow, which I think is more champagne-y in finish. So here's number 2 next to number 3. Well, you know what? It actually looks a little more pinky, so I think that's why I like the number 3 better. Yeah, the number 2 has a little more pink to it. The number 3 is the more true champagne gold shade, and I think it's just gorgeous. But I had to give Wet n Wild a shout out because for the price, like I think this little thing is like $4. Very thin, easy to travel with, lightweight. It has a clear cover so you can see the product right away. You don't have to go searching for it. The Milani a little bigger with the compact, but again, it's clear so it's easier to seek out with all the makeup that you got, or sorry, I won't speak for everyone, all the makeup that I got. And I think it's a beautiful highlight, you know, and again, buff it in and it will leave a nice finish, smooth finish on the skin. I do think it's a great drugstore alternative if you're not looking to drop dollars on the higher end highlighters. Now, you're probably wondering, Alicia, why did you not give the Dior the best 2018 award? Well, I thought the Dior was more of a shimmery finish. I have to say, I didn't feel it looked as smooth on the skin as the Givenchy did. And I don't know if it's because I need to use a sponge instead of a brush, if I need to apply it more in a buffing motion. Don't get me wrong, this is in the shade 02, it's 03, the gold shade. This is a gorgeous highlighter, and it was tough because it was between this highlighter, the Backstage, and the Givenchy for best of 2018. And of course, our mother, Pat McGrath. I love this highlighter. I do. I just feel the Givenchy leaves a touch smoother finish on my skin. I applied this yesterday and it looks a little shimmery. It does. And again, maybe I just have to buff it better into the skin. Maybe I have to use more setting spray. I was more impressed by the finish from the Givenchy than I was from the Dior. Now, some of you will argue, well, you know, the Givenchy is great, but it's only one shade. You definitely get more bang for your buck in the Dior. I totally understand. And this gold shade is gorgeous. I actually think it's smoother than the Dior compact, the single compact. And you have the bronze shade here that is just gorgeous if you want to add a little bit of bronze glow to the look. And there's your pink highlight, which I think is great for cheek topper. And then you have your more white gold shade here in the quad. I guess because I gave it to Givenchy is because, one, I didn't expect to be blown away by the texture, and I do honestly feel that it is just it's a beautiful highlight. The shade of it is amazing, the tone of it is outstanding, and I do think it's a smoother finish than the Dior by like a molecule. Okay, I mean, I am splitting hairs here, so but let me know down below. I would love for you to discuss if you used all these highlighters, like, you know, what do you think? Let me know. I do want to mention, if I have it, oh boy, so much makeup. I guess it doesn't matter when I wait during this video to announce this as the best face palette of 2018. The Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palette. This is a collaboration of a organization that's associated with animal cruelty and just helping keep animals safe in all circumstances and situations. I did a video on this face palette, but I never finished editing it. I think I'm gonna just post it anyway. It's really old. I mean, this is since the summertime, okay? But what I was most impressed by, because there have been several face palettes released by Hourglass that, although beautiful, the thing that bothered me was that a lot of their shades were just too light for me to use. This is an $80 palette, okay? I need to get the most out of the palette. And also, the pans are not very large, and if it's like a very dusty type of powder finish, the sparkly finishes get on the finishes that don't need to be sparkly. So I feel when you're going from one pan to the other, you want sparkles on the areas that you don't want them on, because everything is just so closely packed. This doesn't have a lot of sparkle. It's a lot of their face palettes have like that marbleized finish, like this one. I was considering this to be like the best blush, but it's not, don't worry. So I'm not gonna give anything away yet. This was the marbleized finish found in a lot of the face palettes before this unlocked design. And I find because of this finish, it has some, you know, radiance to it. Is very beautiful, but I'd rather it just be like a solid color. Now, I was worried about the bronzer because the bronzer looks very light. Let me do it on this side since this is a bronzing arm. But you know, I can make it happen, man. It's an okay color. And if I use like a more densely packed brush, like my Wayne Goss number 13, it's gonna lay on color there. Not as much as my Ofra Matte Versatile Bronzer, but if I was in a pinch and I just had this, like, it will still look beautiful on the face. What I love about this palette, and I mean, two things. The reason why I brought this in while we were speaking about highlighter is this is a gorgeous highlight. This is a more metallic finish, and all these shades are new. These are not currently existing in individual pans. These are all new shades. Let me see, where can we put this one? Is a lot more metallic than their ethereal Strobelight original powder formula. It definitely has more of a metallic finish than those powders, and I feel like a little goes a long way, and you could just pat this down on the cheekbone, on like the highest point or highlight point of the cheekbone, and it will look gorgeous. It's metallic for Hourglass. It might not be metallic for the rest of the planet, but I feel it's a pretty nice, beautiful, high shine finish on the cheekbones without it looking textured or powdery on the skin, which is key. And what I love most is that they have finishing powders in this palette. They have a lighter finishing powder that you can use on the highlight points of your face, such as your under eye area, forehead, bridge of nose a little bit, because if that gets oiling on you, then just skip that. And also a more beige tone finishing powder for the rest rest of your face. The downfall is that the pans are small, so using a brush that's with the smaller brush head, so you could just pick up that color and then just use it to finish your makeup. Again, you could use it to brighten the under eye. These are not shimmery. These are more radiant in finish. So it's gonna look super smooth on the skin, and it's not gonna look sparkly or chunky at all. It just has a beautiful radiant brightening effect that is just flawless on the skin. As you know, Hourglass makes immaculate powders. They're expensive. That's for a lot of money, but it's worth it though. And then you got your two blush shades that I think are gorgeous. This is a plum shade that I feel is just universally all around an ideal color for tan skin. And then you have like your blush topper shade that you can use right on the plum shade just to give it a little more pop and a little more shine. If you want to adjust the tone of the shade a little bit. Gorgeous. Definitely the best of 2018, and I much prefer, because they also released another face palette soon after this. I much prefer this one over the other that has like the marbleized blush and bronzer in there. I would love if they could for 2019 release an ambient light palette with deeper bronzer, highlighter, and blush shades. I think that would be ideal. And also for the Givenchy, if they released like more of a bronze highlight, forget about it. Forget about it. Too much to handle. Oh, we could do, oh, hold on. Best loose highlighting powder of 2018. There have been quite a few. I don't remember if this released in 2018. I believe that it did. I really loved the loose powder highlighter from the Colourpop and Shayla collaboration. This is in the shade Boomin. They released more shades recently, but this is like a beautiful gold color. I mean, and loose powder highlighters, I feel people tend to use more because since it is loose, it's gonna melt better into the skin than a pressed powder would. That's just, you know, because of the formula itself. I would buff this in, or just make sure, because it is loose, I feel you need more of a circular application technique to ensure that the powders melt into the skin and they look smooth. This is a great buy too. I think this is only $7, and this is a beautiful shade. I mean, look how beautiful golden that looks. You can hardly see it because I blended into my skin, but when you apply this to damp skin, or even if it's dry, I think it leaves a beautiful finish that's not super intense. But you can get it there, but it's not gonna look textured and crazy. So we talked about our highlight, we talked about alternatives and our favorites, but I was not ready for this blush. When she came in the mail and I tried it for the first time, and this was recent. I got this on Black Friday and I haven't stopped using it ever since. The Melt Cosmetics Powder Blush. You see the shade and you question it. You ask, really? Really? It starts off light, and I'm gonna take my current favorite blush brush. I shouldn't be showing this to you. I'm sorry it's out of stock. I'm sorry. But just look at that. Look at how effortless that goes on, how that blends out. And not only the formula blew me away, but just the shades themselves. This is an ideal blush shade. It's not too peachy, it's not too pink, it's just right in the middle. It has a little bit of warmth, it's gorgeous. I also have the other ones here on standby. Let's see here. This is Cali Dream. This is like the more coral shade, and this is the more peachy shade. And then recently, when they had like another flash sale on their website, I managed to pick up Body, which is more of a traditional pink. So these are all the blush shades from Melt Cosmetics. If you want to see them together, I mean, you can't get better than this, man. They originally retailed for $22. I snapped them for $13, and I just think it's worth it. It's worth it. I love the compact. It has that matte black finish. It's magnetic enclosure. It's a little curved on the top, but I feel still pretty thin for traveling. It won't take up too much room. Lightweight, and they're just easy to use, and they're smooth. They're silky in texture. They blend out like a dream, and they're foolproof. On the first application, it's gonna be a really light wash of color, but if you want to kick it up, You can. You are able to with this blush. It's not gonna look chalky or powdery. You're gonna keep building up the saturation. I don't know from where. I don't know how it happens, because initially, again, you see these shades and you're like, oh, is it gonna show up on my skin? I don't know. They will. Build it up and you'll get the flush you've always desired. Definitely best blush of 2018, hands down. I am so happy that I purchased these blushes. I will continue to look out for any more shades they decide to release. But yeah, man, those are my favorites for 2018 for blush, bronzer, and highlighter. Let me know down below what your favorites been, or if there is something I yet have to discover, a must-have that I have to try, then let me know down below. And that, my friends, is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until then, I'll see you on here again with another tutorial, chit chat, demo, or review. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.